Welcome back, America. We've said many times on this show, the greatest history going on in this country has been in the courts and often driven by states and their attorneys general. We're joined by one of those who's blazed the path of history over the last several years. He's the South Carolina Attorney General and good friend of the show, and now the leading candidate for governor in that state, Attorney General Alan Wilson. Sir, good to have you back on the show.
It's great to be back with you. Thank you for having me.
We are excited to have you, and it looks like you're back on a course to the Supreme Court one more time. This involving the Berkeley County school system. Tell us a little bit more about where we are in this very important transgender law case that I think is going to make history.
Absolutely. Again, this is following on the heels of the Scarametti case, where the Supreme Court said states have the right and the plenary authority to prohibit people from transgendering children under the age of 18. And so that was something the Supreme Court upheld. We're now going back to the Supreme Court to protect the rights of states to be able to prohibit boys from going in the girls' spaces and girls from going in the boys' spaces in public places like in schools. South Carolina passed a law last year that basically put strings on the money that local schools were being given and said that if you allow boys to go into private spaces and girls to go into boys' spaces, we could take that money from you. There was a family with a transgender child who sued on that, and we went to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is a relatively liberal court, and they basically paused South Carolina's law. They enjoined it while we are arguing the merits. I'm going to the Supreme Court along with the State Superintendent of Education, Ellen Weaver, to ask the Supreme Court to allow this law to remain in effect while we argue the merits of this case. Regardless of what the Supreme Court does, we believe that this will ultimately end up there next year on the merits, and this is too important a case. There are varied court and district court decisions and circuit court decisions all over the country that actually disagree with the Fourth Circuit, and we need a final resolution by the Supreme Court soon.
Yeah, important.
Sir, when you think about the woke universe, this issue of trans is pretty much at the top when it comes to the things that they hold sacred. So this case could end up being supremely consequential to taking out that universe, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Of course, right now in the Fourth Circuit, there's a case called Grimm, the Grimm case, and basically it's where the court said that, you know, a child identifying as a boy or identifying as a girl could go to the bathroom that they want to go to. Again, that rejects and basically ignores the privacy rights of all the other children and also compromises the safety of children in those private spaces. And again, at the end of the day, I believe that children who identify as transgender can be accommodated at the local level by local schools who can give them another restroom or a teacher restroom or a family or gender neutral restroom without compromising the safety, security, and privacy of the other 99.9% of the students in the school. Judges in Richmond, Virginia, or in Washington, D.C. should not be dictating what states are allowed to do when it comes to protecting the privacy and safety of our children. And that's what I intend to defend all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, and you've been so good at describing this, there are such common sense solutions here that the left doesn't even consider, like, hey, let's make the teacher's bathroom or a private bathroom available in this circumstance. They simply just double down on something that we know has resulted in assaults and other issues in school districts. It's not a hypothetical risk. It's actually happened in school districts, sometimes covered up as it was in Virginia. Why do you think the left doesn't want to embrace a more middle ground to accommodate without having to infringe on the privacy rights of so many people?
Well, I mean, you've seen a lot in the last 6 months since President Trump took office again, where they have really doubled down on 90-10 issues on the 10% side. I mean, I remember watching the president give a State of the Union address, and they refused to stand up and applaud the president recognizing a little boy fighting brain cancer and making him an honorary member of the Secret Service. They couldn't even applaud that. Yeah. You know, these are people who are totally supportive of transing children. These are people who are totally supportive of allowing, you know, men into women's private spaces and doing all kinds of radical issues. They've been hijacked by the far extreme left, and they're losing political ground, but they're also going to be losing legal ground. I truly believe that this case that we have here in South Carolina, along with the Scarametti decision that came down this past summer, could be a death nail to the radical left agenda when it comes to transgender issues. And again, this isn't about disrespecting transgender people. This is about accommodating children with that issue while protecting the privacy and the safety of all the other children that we entrust to schools.
Yeah, so important.
Well, and furthermore, you had a middle school in California, in Temecula, California, this past week, where you have middle schoolers who were protesting a school board decision to allow boys in girls' bathrooms, and it was boys and girls who were out there protesting, trying to keep that from happening. When it comes to the repercussions of this, is that going to affect all 50 states?
Well, look, honestly, if it goes up to the U.S. Supreme Court, it could. Right now, it's just within the Fourth Circuit here in our region of the country, and it could be bad. It's bad case law here for us right now. I intend to rectify that, along with the Superintendent of Education, Ellen Weaver, who's also in this lawsuit with me, and I'll give her a lot of credit. But we intend to take this to the Supreme Court so that we can get this issue resolved once and for all.
Yeah, that's important, and it'll solve it for the whole country. That'll be the great benefit. Sir, you deal with so many things every day that come before the Attorney General, but this one caught my attention because I think it is compassionate, but also common sense. A declaration in the last 24 hours from you that parents are entitled to parental leave if they go through the tragedy of a stillbirth. Tell us a little bit how this came about and how you came to that decision.
There were children in certain school districts in the upstate of South Carolina, not children, but families rather, who were being denied parental leave. We had a House member, Representative Neil Collins, sent us a legal opinion asking if, under the Parental Leave Act, if parents were entitled to parental leave if they delivered a stillborn child, as opposed to a child who was born alive. While the law is somewhat needs some clarification, we determined that based on South Carolina's other laws, our heartbeat bill, as well as other laws that the General Assembly has put into effect, we believe that the family of a stillborn child is entitled to the same protections and the same rights as if that child had been born alive. It's traumatizing enough to lose a child in that particular situation, but to deny them the basic rights that a family would receive had that child survived is just really adding insult to injury. So we gave a legal opinion that says that the children of stillborn children are entitled to the same leave protections as the parents of children who were born alive. Obviously, we think the General Assembly should provide some additional clarification to just kind of seal this issue, but that's the direction we're going.
Yeah, very smart.
Just seems like a no-brainer if you have 1 ounce of compassion in your body. Sir,
Absolutely.
before we let you go, I want to ask you about this appeals court blocking President Trump from deporting Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act. Tell us about it, because this is another one of those issues that seems to be, a no-brainer, but
going to the Supreme
you never
Court.
know.
Yeah.
Well, our robed war fighters up on the judiciary in the Fifth Circuit have determined that they're going to go ahead and start making definitions of what predatory incursion and invasion mean. Again, they should not be in the war council with the president, who is the commander-in-chief, and the generals. They should have no more right to determine what missiles are going to what targets, and they should defining what a predatory incursion is. Obviously, Tren de Aragua is one of those gray zone war tactics that Venezuela is using that falls short of open conflict, but is still designed to destabilize the U.S. Very few people put on a uniform and go out on an open battlefield anymore. A lot of these destabilizing tactics are done using violent gangs like Tren de Aragua, who are coming here and they're murdering co-eds, running on college campuses. They're taking over, apartment complexes, and they're trafficking in drugs and creating all kinds of havoc. The president was right to do this. I hope the administration appeals this to the Supreme Court. We intend to support the administration as it tries to defend our borders and defend our citizens.
Yeah, we should expect a friend of the court brief from you, I would suspect.
You will.
I knew it. Attorney General Alan Wilson on the front line of some of the most important issues in America today. Such a great honor to have you on today. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, what a great thing. Boy, that stillbirth thing, a lot of people were talking about that to me this morning. What a great act of compassion. All right, folks, after the break, we'll highlight a major problem facing America today. Most of our critical pharmaceuticals are made outside the U.S. We've been talking about this. We did a whole special about it on tomorrow's show. We can't wait to tell you some of the developments since the last time we talked about it before. You're going to get a fun preview from a congressman and a doctor and a Marine, one of our favorites, Congressman Rich McCormick from Georgia. Next, right after these messages.
Hey Rev family and War Room Posse, mark your calendar. September 12th and 13th, the Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws Tour is coming to the America First Warehouse.
I have never seen anything like this.
2 unforgettable days filled with patriots, barbecue, and live shows straight from the most amazing place, the America First Warehouse. Get ready for a special guest to be announced, plus a 3-hour live episode of Studio 6B.
And we're just going to go do it.
On the 12th, Steve Bannon will host War Room Live at 5 p.m. And Steve will be back again on the 13th. Followed by 1 hour with Peter Navarro.
I went to prison so you won't have to.
The Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws Tour, September 12th and 13th at the America First Warehouse. Scan the QR code to see pricing and availability. Don't miss this opportunity. Tickets won't last.